Hey, everybody. Let's go ahead and open it up to questions and sharing experiences. You can unmute yourself or type in. Go ahead and fire away. And then when we're done with that, we'll jump in and do a little bit of a practice.
Yeah, go ahead, Linda.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hi there. So, I've been doing the back and forth with the Shibumi and the alignment,
Oh,
right?
nice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, going back and forth, and enjoying that. Kind of like gonna do that for a week or so and see, like, how that shows up in life. But one of the questions or
Mm-hmm.
something that occurred to me while I was doing it today
Mm-hmm.
was doing the inhale and the exhale, inhale. As we do this process, I noticed like um, images from my life sort of flash before me, like this thing's come up. It's so
Mm-hmm.
interesting. And, I know the thing about, if you get stuck on something, you really kind of work with that, but
Mm-hmm.
otherwise just let it go. But one things I was noticing today was when I was working on the chakras, the sex chakra, for instance, right?
Mm-hmm.
The idea of breathing in the essence of my sex chakra, mixing it all up with mine, and breathing out and breathing through the sex chakra
Mm-hmm.
came to mind as a thing, or it wasn't even to mind. It was like, "Ooh, that feels good."
Mm-hmm.
Just wondered if that's, I mean, it almost seems to me like every time we inhale and exhale, we're doing that very thing, whether we're aware of it or not.
Yeah, you're amplifying the effects, but it's even in one of the modules for in Astara where you know how we breathe in the essence from the situation, then we breathe through the situation, like what you're
Right.
talking about.
Mhm.
um in one of the modules I have them do that actually from the point of view of like breathing it into the sex chakra and then breathing out from the sex chakra. And the reason being that, for one, it's how you interact with the environment, it's how you process. You're taking in information in the instinctive responses and you're adjusting and adapting, but it's also tied to uh, like the creative processes. So you're attracting energy from the environment to bring in whatever thoughts or feelings that you have or actions, and you're trying to bring it into form. But also, the thing that I find kind of fascinating about the sex chakra part, because when we think of the sex chakra, a lot of times we just think of like the sexual part. But then we start talking about instinctual responses and then how we attract energy from the environment. But it's also tied to devotional practices and the things that we bring into our lives, where we that phrase, like, fake it till you make it. Like,
Mm.
oh, there's this thing I would like to do. I don't really quite understand it, but I'm gonna kind of mimic it for a little bit until I kind of like get it and start understanding it. And um, that is actually a function of the sex chakra. And eventually it turns into something up in the mind, in the mental processes. But basically, your sex chakra kind of targets things like, I don't like that. It's not really comparing and choosing. It's like, this works for me, this doesn't work for me. This works for me, this doesn't work for me. I want to bring this in. I don't want to have anything to do with that, right? And the comparing and choosing comes from the solar plexus. And so it's not purely coming from the sex chakra, but the tendency to identify something and then start duplicating it in your like energy body, in your emotions, in your mind. All of that's tied to the function of the sex chakra.
Mm.
And say you see a situation where, like, oh, I see this person being really super successful, I'd like to be successful like that. It's not that there's a sexual attraction to that person. It's like, I want to bring what that person has into my life. There is this old shamanic saying, like, what one man can do, another man can do. Like, you kind of just keep saying this, like, what one man can do, another man can do. So then you see somebody who's doing something that's a little bit inspirational, you observe it for a while, and you're like, I want to do what that guy's doing, or I want to do what that person's doing, or eventually it turns into a connection to like a teacher or a deity. You could even say like people who are trying to be like as Christ, eventually it ends up in the heart or end up in the mind, but it started off in the sex chakra, right? And so the sex chakra, if you boil it down, is where spirit and matter mix. Like, the essence and form, like they kind of mix there. And so I would agree with you. It feels very good, like to work it and open it up to things in the environment, but even just ideas and you could say concepts, like ideas, concepts, things like this, where eventually by tapping into it, you start to have an emotional response, and then the mind starts to get involved. And so even for your mind to be able to go through and process that, part of what's happening is you're tapping into it with that instinctive response, and then the chain reaction happens. And so I would agree with you. Like I would say you could just do it on the sex chakra itself, but I would say like even if you target, like, I don't know, say you're trying to be super successful and you go, okay, I look at who's it successful, like Warren Buffett, like, right, like you go, okay, Warren Buffett might not agree with all the things that he does, but certain things, and that he's successful and practical, then you would focus on that and breathe in the essence, breathe out through, just like we've been practicing, like breathe in the essence, breathe through the person or the situation. And so, I mean, it's really kind of the idea, more of an inner practice, like when you do it with like saints or deities or angels, I think we've done a practice where we did that with the angels, or was that something I still haven't released yet? I haven't released it yet. Yeah, okay. So there's actually this whole thing that we do with the angels, and same idea. Like you're breathing in the essence of the angel, and you're breathing out in that area. And the idea is that the angel is helping the mixing of spirit and matter, because it is an energy with consciousness. And so you're not just breathing out, life force or something. You're breathing out a little bit of energy with consciousness, but bringing the angel in, it almost like opens up the pipes, so that when you do it, it's amplified with the angel. And then when you let the angel go and you don't do it with the angel next time, that pipe has still been increased in size. And so it makes it easier and easier for that movement to happen.
Okay.
Yeah. I like that you're exploring that. That's a, yeah. What
Yeah,
makes you do that? I'm just curious.
I don't know, to be honest.
Yeah,
It was
good.
kind of,
It's just
it was just,
instinct.
it
Like,
was truly just an
yeah,
intuitive thing. I was just going through it.
yeah,
I'd gone up and down once with the Shibumi, then I went up
yeah.
and down with the alignment, and then I went up, and then I was doing another round with the Shibumi. And when I came back
Mhm.
down to the sex center, before I
Yeah,
started to go up again with, it was like, then it was like, suddenly it was like, oh, this is interesting. It was like, suddenly it was just
yeah.
sort of,
It,
and then I also just wondered if that isn't part of what happening with all of the chakra. Every
yeah,
time
it
you
is.
do inhalation, exhalation,
Yeah,
you yeah. Because I was just kind of playing around with
yeah. I love that.
putting my awareness out further. Like I tend to get a little stuck inside, like too close to my
Mhm,
physical body.
mhm,
And
mhm,
if I allow, and if I encourage myself to think or put my awareness further away from me, right, it
mhm,
helps. And
mhm.
then that was when it was like, oh, I don't know, something just came in. It was interesting. That's why I wanted to ask you about it. It was like,
You could say, like, even I just threw out this term, like where spirit and matter mixes.
yeah.
So, like, you could take it a step further, and the thing with matter, like, we're of the earth, but even the earth has a consciousness. And
Mm,
so if you take that mixing of spirit and matter like a step further, it is part of the way how you're interacting with the energy of the earth. But then if you take it a step further, it's how you're communicating with the nature spirits and devas of the earth. And you could even say like how the chakras have like a holy name and an angel, but they also have an adversary, like a lower being that is
Mm.
the negative manifestations of each chakra,
Mm.
right? Just like each one has a holy name, each one has a bad guy that is
Mm.
the negative potential, right? And
Mhm.
then from there you have the positive spirits and then the negative spirits, right? And we really don't put a lot of thought into that, but the spirits are how, like, you're communicating with the consciousness of Earth, the nature beings, the elements, the elementals. You're doing that via the spirit that is associated with each chakra. So, like, even if you have good thoughts, but the tendency in a particular area is more towards the adversary than towards the holy name, then that's the message you're sending out to Earth, and then that's what Earth sends back as the building blocks, right? So if you're actively kind of cultivating something negative, you're sending that out, and then you're receiving like it's like IKEA. You get the little building blocks that you go, okay, now I'm going to make this into a, whatever. And so it's what we've been saying for a while about the things that we do and the things that we cultivate and the things that we focus on, is connected to something below your feet, right? Like
Mm.
saying or Amen is releasing light from the bottom of your feet down into the earth. Or in the Buddhist tradition, when they go Hum or Om Ahum, right? And so part of that is changing the kind of communication that you're having with the consciousness of Earth and the beings of creation, be it good or bad. But if you look at it clairvoyantly, like these things aren't like disconnected, like that release out into the earth, and that will dictate how much light is below your feet or how much is not below your feet. So in the Jewish and the Christian tradition, they're always talking about you're on sacred ground, or take your sandals off because you're on sacred ground. It's actually tied to this component. But when you're cultivating the spiritual, like the positive spirits, and diminishing the negative spirits, um, that's generating more light below your feet. But what it's also doing, like all that activity, has a direct correlation to your inner aura. Like, so
Mm.
if you go through and you do this, like scan and evaluate your inner aura,
Mm.
and not just how big it is, but like how much negative stuff's in there, like especially elements and elementals, and how much positive, how much spiritual energy is in there. And it's tied to what we were talking about, like that idea of protection. Part of what you're protecting is you're trying to protect from the influence of the negative things that have been attracted in from the earth. And so, like, as you go through and do that particular practice, you'll notice that the inner aura begins to change. And even though you feel good and you feel cleaned up, you go and you start scanning the inner aura, and you're like, not that bright, or it's not that, because it's still of some of these negative influences. When you start unwinding that and you start cultivating the positive spirits, I mean, for one, it's expansive, right? It's almost, I don't want to say it's hard to stay in the body, but the body doesn't become the focal point quite like before. But you'll notice that you just feel kind of happy and joyous inside. It's literally the exact thing that the Buddhists talk about with everybody's wanting to be happy, right? And for them, they just use that term happy. In like the prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi, it's joy. It's almost this big spontaneous, just like what's the word? Like intoxicating is not the right word. Like almost like an exhilaration. Like how would you describe it? Like
Blissful?
yeah, it's like a kind of bliss. Like it really is. Um uh it, just by its nature, it's elevating. It feels,
It's euphoria.
yeah, euphoric. There's that's
Euphoric.
the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like kind of euphoric. And it's really tied to the quality of the inner aura, the light below your feet, and then how you're interacting with the earth. Because even if you look at the tools, like for, let's see if I have mine now, like a dorje, right? You have your dorje in.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So even if you look at a dorje, so this is a dorje. This is a nice little. So, you would hold it and, you think of like, okay, I'll bless a person or I'll bless a situation. Really, what this is for is blessing the earth. Like, even if you go, okay, Linda, I'm going to bless you. I'm going to send blessings to you and your family. So our minds, our intellect would go, okay, send blessings to Linda and her family, right? Even if I have a dorje in my hand, I'm going to send blessings to Linda and her family. But really, what should be done is you take this and you go, I'm going to bless the earth that Linda and her family are blessed or are happy. Like it's about getting it into the earth. Like it's almost like getting a program in that then goes up through the light through the bottom of the feet, starts to penetrate the inner aura, and then starts to change how you interact or are cultivating those spirits within your chakras or your energy field. It's a really hard thing to like teach all at once. So like over a period of time, I've just been doing this like slow roll to it. But that's the idea, is your you're interacting with the environment, you're mixing light with the form through the sex chakra, which is, shifting how you interact with the consciousness of earth. But by doing that, you're starting to cultivate more of the positive elements and elementals, but also a stronger connection to the positive spirits and a weaker connection to the spirits that are associated with degeneration or decay. Because really, what you're dealing with when you're dealing with the spirits, like the spirits are of the earth, like they're like the middlemen, you could say. And there's ones that help to elevate us, and then there's things that are about decay, degeneration, because everything goes in a cycle, right? It's spring, summer, winter, fall. Like winter is always going to happen. Like even though you go through those other parts, at some point things degenerate and decay. So there's always energy of degeneration and decay in any given situation. And so when a lot of times when the body's having a difficult time, part of what's happening is there's an excess of that kind of interaction with the earth. So not just doing the body, but also blessing the earth below that person actually can have a transformational effect on the person. So that's why, like in pH, for example, the emphasis with MCKS was to put spikenard on the feet, right? It was to change the dynamic of like the light that you're releasing and then the energy that you're attracting up out of the earth and the inner aura is of the earth. You know, it's a denser piece of energy that is associated with the body. And so that directly is dictated by how much positive and how much negative spirits are interacting in each of your chakras. So even just by doing that one chakra, you're starting to change all the chakras, right? And you know, even when you do it from the heart, like I would say the one that like sends me out into outer space is the one on the heart. The the spirits are Chashmalim. And so they're referred to like slang as the lucid ones, the ones that give like great clarity and insight. And man, whenever I do that one, like I just like I almost feel this like euphoria inside, and it lasts for days. It lasts for days. Yeah. I would keep exploring that, keep playing with that.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
that's
should do so.
even do the thing where like you go, okay, I have this goal. You know, I want to be, you know, whatever it is, whatever the goal is. We'll just say the goal is XYZ, right? So then you look at the goal and you go, okay, the goal's about a month out. You know, I get all these people, you know, you still do all the details. I got to contact these people. I got to send out emails. I got to do this. I got to do that. You know, I got to put it in the paper. I got to do all those things. But one of the things that you do is you you can look at the goal, or you can look at like what you're targeting for the goal, right? So you can, and sometimes the mind can get too into it. So like if you start going, I'm not sure, just start working it, right? Because you're wanting to use intuition, and so intuition will right the wrong approach. Like if you have the wrong approach, intuition will go, stop doing that, do this, right? Intellect will just double down, right? And so you go, okay, this is the goal. So if it's a project, you go, okay, I'll start breathing in the essence. I start breathing uh through the goal, you know, whatever that is, goal XYZ, but you can do it from the sex chakra. Like there's the different chakras will do different things, but when it's about like bringing something into form, achieving a goal, you know, Kriya Shakti kind of things,
Mhm.
you're wanting to do it more from the sex chakra than anywhere else.
Mhm. Okay, I will work with that and let you
Yeah,
know.
play with that and see how that treats you.
Thank you.
And then go ahead, Dan, then Laura.
Hey, Dan.
We lost you. Where are you? Let's get you unmuted, unless you don't have a question anymore.
Here I go. Here I
Okay.
go. I got it now.
Great.
That last class we did,
Mhm.
I have that has helped me out so much actually.
Yeah.
It's able to just kind of things have really shifted. I mean, just
Yeah.
like that one example, I think you said, you know, things are really different. You were talking to that one guy, you know, things are really different. Well,
Mhm.
things are really different, you know. I'm just able to like put down like I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm not playing that
Right.
game anymore.
Yeah.
Just
So
many
much. I mean, you bring up a really super good point. Like, I'm not going to do that no more. Right. So much of us doing certain things or not doing certain things um, is these triggers in the body. Like they're stimulating thought processes that we really don't think out ourselves. We almost like by the time it gets to the mind, you know, there's things that we generate from the mind, yes, but these things that we're talking about, they go through like the instinctive responses, and they hit the emotions, and they hit the mind, and before you know it, you're so weighed down or bogged down by them that it's hard to shift, because you're not just making a decision, you're having to overcome emotions, and you're having to overcome the physiology. And trying to make your physiology do something is literally like banging your head on the wall. And so
It's
by going through and undoing it, you get to go, okay, body, okay, soft tissue, okay, these little points. There's a new sheriff in town. This is what we're doing. And it's like it's not even a fight. They just go, okay.
yeah, it's
Now
yeah,
it's not a fight. Yeah.
it was like so laborious to get through the whole thing, to get like the whole gang together in consensus
Mhm.
kind of thing, versus no, I'm not doing that. Okay, I'm
Right.
not going there. We're not doing it. Done. We're on to
Yeah.
the next. Yeah, that has really
Yeah.
taken place. It's really so
Nice.
cool and liberating too.
Yeah.
Um, Even my awareness has shifted. I mean, even doing Twin Hearts in the morning, it's like there's my awareness is, I don't know how to describe it yet, but it used to be like on a specific point kind of thing,
Mhm.
versus now it's more internal and seeing a bigger picture of things. Does that
Nice.
kind of make
Yes.
sense?
No, that you're so on the mark. You're so
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
It's like you're
It
seeing
gives you
things
like a
from
bigger depth perception. Like you
yes,
see things
yes,
like, to a
yes, yes,
much
yes.
greater degree. You see kind of how things are going to play out a little bit. And yeah, like if you think about like when we're expanding, you know how like sometimes we expand and you're like, yeah, sometimes I get really up there and sometimes I don't, and I just really don't expand very much. You know, I'm using this for myself. When I first started meditating, I had no expansion. It was all this stuff in the body. Like
Uh-huh.
soon as I, I, I trained myself at first to stay awake until I was about to fall asleep and then meditate, and it made it easier for me to get out of my body, right? And then it kept improving. But when I had gone through and really worked these spots, meditation is just like off the charts, like off the charts. Yeah, it's literally like when people say, "Oh, like I'm being held down by the baggage." The baggage are these points. Like it's literally the thing that kind of like is the gravity that holds you down. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's so thank you, for all these tools that you're sharing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's like this one really really stuck. It's like
Right.
I'm still so. I mean, I know there's other things that I wanted to share, but I can't think of them right now. But I mean,
Yeah.
this would really
Well,
shift the
yeah.
paradigm totally.
Even like talking about it, like when we did this class the first time, like when it's done, I was like, man, that was a great class. But when we walked away with it, I was telling Samantha, I was like, I feel like I didn't do the body map enough justice. Like we did it, we talked about it, we did practices, but like I was like, we're gonna have to come back around on that one and just focus on the body map itself because I feel
Yeah.
like I didn't do enough justice for it because like even if I revisit what I just said, where oh, it's like the baggage that holds you down, these are the building blocks to lower emotions. Lower emotions then turn into like higher emotions, and then you're processing your emotions, and then pretty soon it turns into mental processes, right? And so if we have a lot of negative connections in the body, in the connective tissue and the soft tissue, then the building blocks for the emotions get like amplified, right? Like
Mhm.
there's more lower emotions generated. And so even by going through and doing this, you'll notice that like emotionally you just feel like for me, this is what I always notice. Like we were kind of talking about over the weekend. It's like, well, now that that bad thing is gone, I don't know what to expect.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
like I sit and I'm like, what am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah. This feels
What
weird.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
I'm in damage control, but there's no damage to control. So what am I doing? Like, and I'll sit there sometimes for like 5 or 10 minutes and I go, am I just like delusional and I'm not paying attention to something, or
Yeah. It's like I used to
because
feel like all,
yeah,
and now it's like it's not there.
right, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, it was
So we're
really
going to be doing more of this. Like
brilliant,
it's
brilliant.
we'll it's not like there's a ton more to add to this, but like just getting in and like when we do some study groups and stuff, we're going to be doing study groups with this, where like how we did on the weekend, where we might just do an hour or two where we're like, let's go deep on the back, let's go deep on the knees, let's go deep on. And so the idea being even that, this stuff is not necessarily something that caused like say you have a bad knee. It probably didn't cause the bad knee. I mean, it could have, but most likely it didn't.
Mhm.
But having the bad knee generates these things, or if you have structural misalignments, like all these things, and then it just starts to weigh you down and wear you down. And if you look at like, okay, I'm treating my knee, I'm treating it for arthritis, I'm treating the lymphatic thing, I'm treating all those kinds of issues. Adding this to it also accelerates the healing process, because you're reducing the production of lower emotions because of whatever the health issue is, especially if it's pain related. Yeah. The very first time I presented the body map was to a group, was the very first time I taught the pain class. And the class was it was way too much information, but I presented it to a bunch of nurses and nurse practitioners, and it was just too out there for them. It was just way, way too out there for them. But I think as you go through and you break down like the levels of layers of things that are happening in different areas and conditions, it's not like a cure-all, but it will accelerate the healing process, both physically and psychologically, and it increases the amount of soul energy in a particular area. And really what makes an area heal is soul energy, right? Life force. And so it's not the only thing that you do. Like like you have the bad knee, like what oil out of this class, what oil do I use? It's helpful, but we still need to treat the the area, the symptom, whatever is going on. But it can be a multifaceted approach to treat a particular condition, especially chronic conditions, where you have a greater potential for that to either slow down in degeneration or to regenerate and heal.
Right. Yeah. I really think that knee thing that I had is actually part of this whole thing back in the childhood dad kind of thing going on there.
Oh yeah, that's very possible.
Yeah.
Old injuries, old states, like having
That,
difficult times where things were like real chaotic in our life, all that imprints on the body. All of it does.
and because it just came and went. It
Yeah.
was just kind of, really kind of
Yeah.
odd. But I mean, that whole technique and the way it's kind of flipped around from the previous class, brought that whole thing through to really, just really the breathing technique through something just
Right.
just got like I said, it just released a whole lot. I can
Yeah.
tell
Yeah.
that it did. So I'm just very yeah,
Yeah.
grateful.
Good for you. Yeah, that makes me happy. Good.
Yeah, thanks.
And then go ahead, Laura, then Ralph.
Hey, Laura.
Hey, Greg. Part of the questions you've answered, and this, but when you're doing that, you mentioned the angels, that you could kind of focus on the angels. Would you use the oils specific for the angel when you're doing that?
Yeah, you can just dabble with angels, but like you can use particular angels, even if you're using the archangels or just the other angels. You can use the oils, or you can even though the angel or the archangels are associated with each particular chakra, they're all also associated with the sex chakra. So you could invoke any of the names with your awareness on the sex chakra as well. In fact, let's do a little experiment, right? So like, first I'm going to do it without you having your awareness on the sex chakra. So everybody participate with this. So your awareness is just on your heart or just on your thoughts, nowhere else. You're just kind of paying attention, right? And let's see, we'll do Raphael maybe.
Mm.
Yeah. So we'll do Raphael. Okay, so Ra Fa El Ra Fa El. Okay, so notice how that feels. Feels nice, yeah? Feels very nice. So now your awareness is, well, Raphael is associated with the Ming Men. So your low back area opposite the navel. Let's just see what it feels like with our awareness on the Ming Men, right? Okay, so your awareness is on the Ming Men. Ra Fa El. Ra Fa El. And that feels good, but different. You notice like you still feel something, but it has a different effect. Right? So we'll let that go. And now your awareness is on the sex chakra. Ra Fa El. Ra Fa El. Could you feel the difference between the three? How about you? Could you feel the difference between the three? I can always tell when it really moves Samantha, because when we do the first one, she like kind of nods. Second one, she nods. Third one, she just goes, but doesn't open her eyes or nod or anything. She's but they have different effects and they have different purposes, right? And so it's not like it's just one is stronger than the other. They actually do have different effects, and so when you're doing it on the sex chakra, like I was saying, it's helping to facilitate your essence mixing with the earth. Because if you think about, like, a lot of times when we have the things that we're trying to do, our essence is mixing of the earth, but it's It's our essence that is the stressed out essence or the lower nature essence. And when you're invoking the angel, you're bringing your higher essence, you're moving it through the body, and then you're releasing it out through the sex chakra, and then bringing it back in, and then it just goes up the three brains again, right? And so you're breaking a pattern of not just you, but how you interact with the environment, with the earth, with the nature spirits, with the elements, with other people, with all the things we've done in the past, like whatever it is, you're changing that by bringing in that essence and then releasing that. So you're releasing spirit and matter, and then it has a transformational effect on the inner aura.
Wow, that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
So I missed Sunday. I haven't done it yet. Did you teach which angels go with which chakras?
No, we didn't even do angels on the that's been from all the chakra classes, but I can write that out. Like what do you want to know? Like the which angel goes with which chakra?
Sure.
Yeah, I can write that out tonight. Like I can fire that off really quick.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
This would be an interesting meditation for sure.
Yeah, and you know, so part of what we were doing is kind of like what we were talking about last night. Like we're really focusing on the mechanics of the light, you know, even though I'm not saying that in each of the classes, that's what we're focusing on, right? We're focusing on the mechanics of light. And so we're kind of establishing like at least an interaction with all these different pieces. And then we're going to take the things that we know, like from Three Brains and doing protection and all these things. Even Uncle Bob is woven into all this. And you kind of bring it forth and you mix it all together. So we, like I said, we hadn't talked about the angels, but the angels are definitely a part of it. And it's like what I was saying last night is like if you do the practice of working with the white light in a short amount of time, it will change your life. It will change how you feel. It will change how you think. It's very. It goes beyond what your intellect thinks is what is happening and what should happen. Like it just blows past all that. Like it just completely blows past it. You know, it's even kind of like what Dan and I were talking about. Like you kind of go through and you unwind some of this stuff and you go, okay, now I don't know what to do because the negative thing is gone. You already have, you're blowing by what the intellect thinks is going to happen or what should happen. You know, those I should have, I have to, I need to, like, you know, there's things where like I need to balance my checkbook, I need to do these things. But you know how like sometimes there's a situation where like, oh, I had this weird interaction with this person or a family member, and I need to do this, I should do this, I'm supposed to do this. But really you don't feel that way down deep. It's just like this, like I need to, I have to, I should, like you know, it's all those things in your intellect and you're just kind of blowing past it. And the more that you kind of blow past it, it just even starts kind of cleaning up those things or those attachments in the intellect. And so the intellect just starts going, well, intuition, how do I feel about this? What do I think about this? Like it kind of recalibrates how your mind works. And it's not that it's making it do something different, it's making it do what it is. I don't want to say should be doing, but like it has its potential. But like sometimes we just pigeonhole it into doing a particular thing, and then we get stuck in that cage, you know, and it's literally like unlocking the door and walking out of the cage.
Fascinating. One
Yeah.
last question.
Mhm.
Dan mentioned Twin Hearts practice, and I can't remember what class was that in?
Oh, that's something from pranic healing. Like that's so it's like a version of, you know, how we do like a stronger version of it, you know how we do like the back heart, the navel, and the crown. You know that like when we do that kind of, it's basically that the navel actually amplifies it. Even in pranic healing with the instructors, Master Cho used to pull us aside and say, when you do twin hearts, you know, you activate the heart, but he'd have us touch our navel and then do the crown. And so here, like the that Moses technique, those were the instructions given by Moses to cure karmic issues. And the key is like the heart, especially the back heart, the navel, and then the crown. And then, you know, we amplified it by cooking the energy a little bit when we did navel minor, shooting it back to the Mingmen, and then back to the navel, and then up. That's even super amplified. That's like considered like a super high version of like that twin hearts idea.
You said navel minor, Mingman.
Yeah, like I think we have it. Do we have it cut up yet, or
No, I'm trying to find.
how about we'll do it right now? Let's just do it right now. Like we can sit and talk about it, but it's such an important thing that we'll do it, and then maybe we'll cut it up here and we can make it available. We won't even use oils for this one. We'll just do it without. You can use hyssop. You could use sage. It was in the deep dive on the three brain.
Okay.
It's in there too, but let's just do it so you can have a little edited version of it, right? So if you want to use hyssop or sage, you can. If not, if you just want to do it without, you can do that as well.
And I'm gonna mute everybody just so we get a decent recording here.
Okay, so if there's an area of healing or a prayer you'd like to offer up, reflect on it with your awareness on the heart, the center of your chest. Okay, and then let that go. Your awareness is on your back heart, the area between your shoulder blades. You're just taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. Move your awareness to the navel. Again, you're taking nice, long, slow, deep breaths. And then move your awareness to the crown, the top of your head. And then just let go. Again, your awareness is on the back heart. The area between the shoulder blades. Your awareness is on your navel. An inch and a half below your navel. Now, move your awareness through the body, coming out on the spine opposite the navel. And then float your attention and awareness around the outside of your body, coming around your hips, coming all the way back to the navel again. Your awareness is on the crown. Just let go. Just be still. Your awareness is on your back heart. The area between your shoulder blades. Move your awareness down to the navel. An inch and a half below the navel. Move your awareness through the body back to the spine, opposite the navel. Float your awareness around the sides of the body back to the navel. Your awareness is on your crown. Awareness is on your crown. Just let go. Maintain your stillness and awareness. Your attention is on your forehead, where the hairline is. Your awareness is on your forehead and the palms of your hands at the same time. Let go of your attention on the palms of your hands. Your awareness is on your forehead and the soles of your feet. Om. Okay, how do you feel? I think that was about 15 minutes. Laura, how was that for you?
You should be able to unmute yourself now. Let me check. Yeah, you can unmute yourself, Laura, if you feel up to it. You might have-
Sorry, it took forever. It feels great. I'm gonna start
Yeah.
doing that.
So we'll edit this up so you have a little 15-minute thing that you can do on a daily basis, be it morning or night or whenever you want to do it.
Is there
And
one that's better?
I do that one for a while, and there is a little bit of a stronger version, but it's a bit longer.
No, is morning or night better?
Oh, I see. Um, I think it depends on the person. Like if you can do it and get stuff done, but like when I do a meditation like this, like in the old days, I'd go, okay, now I'm going to utilize energy and get stuff done. Now I go, I'm going to call it a day. So I usually do them more towards the end of the day.
That sounds good.
Because I get into like a different space and I'm like, I'm just gonna sit in this space for a while, you know.
I
So
love it.
yeah,
Thank you.
you're so
And then go ahead, Ralph, then Sarah.
hey Ralph.
Hey, Greg. Nice of you to get us all blissed out and then ask us to think about what we're supposed to say.
Now talk.
You dirty bird.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask where we could get the holy names for the angels and the chakras and stuff. But yeah, so
okay.
please put me down for distribution on that list.
Okay, yeah, we'll just send it out to everybody, or
Yeah.
like, how should we do that? We'll do.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll get it
Yeah,
out.
we'll figure it out. So you want the holy names as well? Okay,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
super easy.
And then as we're doing the chakras, it occurs to me, probably should do the pH colors for the chakras and move those, because I remember one of the classes we were practicing on moving the chakras into all of the energies of the different chakras into all the different chakras. That's the best language I could
Into
come
the
up with.
body. Yeah, it was more into the
body.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so to facilitate that, it's like move the colors of the chakras into different body parts. So as to integrate.
It's actually like trying to do it with color would actually inhibit it a little bit. Like you,
Oh,
It's like doing it with the oils is like an easier way to do it. Like the mystical version of that is you would, you know how like in Lama Yoga we sit and we put our awareness on our body and where do you feel it in your body, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to, because part of what you're doing is you're developing the chakras as well, but you're also increasing the level or degree of influence that the chakras have on the physiology. And
Okay.
so like say you're doing it with your heart, you go, okay, my awareness is on my heart. Like this is without oils, right?
Mhm.
Okay, my awareness is on my heart, and you feel like, okay, I'm starting to have a little bit of expansion. And then you would go, okay, I'm gonna let go of the heart. Where do I feel it in my body? Right. So that's one level you could do it. Or you could do awareness on the heart, you have expansion, and then go, okay, I'm gonna visit my legs, I'm gonna visit my arms, gonna visit my pelvis, gonna visit my abdomen, my back, my chest, my neck, like that kind of version of it. So you could
Mhm.
do it either way, but that would work.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Both,
right.
I mean, the oils, it's easier and it makes the shift happen. But like when I first started doing that practice, like many, many years ago, we would just burn a stick of incense and like do the practice, but without inhaling oils.
Yeah.
I find the oils are way easier, but you could do it either way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so it would be a different oil for every chakra, or could we use something like aloes or
You could use aloes, but like those chakra, all the oils that are the chakras, that's what they're for. Like that's what
okay.
that's for. Yeah.
All right. I have to look around, see what I got for that. All right.
Yeah. Like if there was a class, I can't remember what we called it, but it was with all the chakras in it.
Yeah,
Like
we had two with chakras, but one had all the chakras. So I'll have to
yeah.
look at which
So
one
it's
that
like it's
was.
got a blend for the front heart, a blend for the back heart. There's even minor chakras in there. Like I really went to town on that one.
Mhm.
And so we'll look up. I can't remember. I can't remember the names of any of the classes.
No, I feel
All
like
right.
that might kind of perform.
Yeah. It was in the last like 6 months, maybe last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's about as good as I can get. Like it's in my notes, but I don't have the names of the classes in my notes. I just have my notes. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, otherwise that last little twist on the advanced Moses technique was quite nice. Thank you.
Yeah, very nice. Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, we've practiced like because what you're doing is you're doing the advanced Moses technique, but then the combination is you're doing also like a version of the Tara technique.
Mm.
And at first, like when you're doing something like that, you kind of develop each of the pieces, and then when each piece gets kind of developed, then you put them together because there's so many moving pieces. Like if you just jump into it, you're not going to get the whole gist of it because there's too many things going on, right? So you kind of practice each piece, and then at some point you go, if I put this all together, what does it do? And so the Tara technique is the natural progression for like the activation of the heart and crown. You're kind of moving up, and then the forehead shoots the light into the body. And then when you're doing it with the palms and the soles of your feet, you're shooting it into the basic. And then even with the awareness on the soles of the feet, and you say amen or or whom, you're shooting the light into the earth.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. In doing the three brains, it's like recently my feet have, particularly this week, of course, this week has been this week has been my week to focus on Mexican government bureaucracy and dealing with it. And
Yeah.
so it's been stimulating to begin with, but it's like my feet have really wanted to be included in the three brains.
Yeah. Yeah. You
So
put your awareness
it's
on the soles of your feet before you get
yeah.
started. Yeah.
So now I'm doing the soles of my feet and under my
Mhm.
feet before I get started on the rest
Sure.
of the three brains, and the feet have been much happier.
Oh, good.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
very good.
All right. Good. All right. Thanks.
You're so welcome.
And then go ahead, Sarah, then Robert.
Hey, Sarah.
Hi, Greg. Hi, everyone.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. So all my questions have been slowly peeling away as other people have been asking them. I think I have the one left, which is for me, I'm loving this and I'm getting definitely a lot of the intuition is now the chariot and the horses are becoming the intellect, if you know what I mean. It's
Mhm.
like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that way around, which is great. But just since the weekend, I knew something pretty intense was going on. I've had this before with other work that I've done, and I was just wondering if there's anything I can do to reduce the roller coaster effect. Because
Sure.
like Monday, it was like super high. And then today I had to cancel some bits and pieces because I'm still in my pajamas. So
Right,
what's
right,
it's
right.
8:13 here in Central Time. So it's like, there's a sensitivity there for me because there's always been a level of psychism and other stuff. So when I do clearing work like this, it's like woo, it's like grace,
Mhm.
bliss, visuals, other things. And then it's like down into the slammer.
Right.
And I know I'm letting go of a lot of things that have happened to me, and I appreciate that too. But I was just wondering if there's anything that could make it a bit more even.
I would like afterwards, you could work with like maybe cedar or like some form of like cedar or the blood one oil,
Okay.
nerve help would be another one. And
Okay.
there was one other one. Do you remember what it was?
I think I might have blood one because I did the
Okay, blood one.
cycles
Yeah, yeah.
course.
Perfect.
Would
Just
that be
use
in
the blood
there?
one. Yep, use the
Yeah.
blood one. Yeah.
Okay. So
Because
could I do that in a bath or just inhale? Or...
you can do it in a bath, or you can just do the inhalation and do the
Okay.
quadrants of the aura.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
because the blood one, we're going to be talking about it on the weekend. The is affecting like the state of the energy body and your body.
Oh,
And
okay.
so it's either you're either regenerating and improving, rebooting,
Mhm.
or you're degenerating. Basically you're either there's order or there's chaos. And of course, we're
Yeah.
all like a mix of the both,
Yeah.
but it moves you more towards the order where you can integrate all those things that are happening and like hold on to it more. And so it minimizes the roller coaster ride.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Super. No, that's great.
Because
Then
you are making a big shift in the body. And so like anytime you make a big shift, it's always good to reinforce the state of the body. Like,
Right.
so that it can adjust, adapt, and like hold on to it better.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks. Because in the human design, I'm an emo manifester with a
Mhm.
completely open spleen.
Mhm.
And so I gallop up and down one side of the chart, and then the other side
Right.
is like
Right.
open to everything else unless
Right.
I, clear it out. Okay, I think that's great. Thank you. So I'll do
You're so
blood
welcome.
one, and hopefully that'll
Okay,
help. So thanks so much.
perfect.
And then go ahead, Robert, then Cindy.
Hey, Greg,
Hey,
sort of following on sort of what Ralph was saying, I've just sat through the two Astara sessions and then this. Is there something I can do without diminishing the positive benefits of all this to bring me back in my body a little bit more?
bring it back into the body. I mean, sometimes just putting your awareness on your feet, but I think sometimes the awareness on the ajna like will regulate the centers and help the mind to be like more fortified. Because you go into a little bit of an expansive state, and then it's kind of like what I was even saying to Laura, like sometimes at the end of the day I do that and I'm like, I'm done for the day. Like I can't right in this state and everything. And so sometimes for me, I do that. But the other way that I compensate for it is if I'm, doing it earlier in the day or whatever, is I use basil to strengthen the mental faculties, just so that even in the expanded state, I still can like bring my mind back in and then start working, even though I'm feeling like expanded also at the same time. Basil is very good for that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Because here on the West Coast, it's approaching dinner time and I still have
Right.
stuff to do
You still
tonight.
got some. So the other thing, vetiver, valerian, spikenard, inhaling it with your awareness on the basic or even rubbing it on your feet should also help.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you very
If you
much.
think of like vetiver brings it all down and physicalizes it into the body. So like what happens sometimes is we expand and then we're like, okay, I'm done with meditation, but we're still kind of expanded, right?
Yes,
And so the basal does the mental component, but if you're just needing to bring it all back down into the body, vetiver, like vetiver or ruscus.
okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yourself.
And then go ahead, Cindy.
Hey, Miss Cindy.
Me, Cindy, or is there another Cindy?
You, Cindy.
Lucinda.
Lucinda.
Yes. So I think most everything has been answered except going back to what Dan said about something that's been a persistent long-term negative or angst in your world, and then it seems to be coming to an end, letting go of it.
Mhm.
I didn't really catch the way to let go of it. I'm not sure what you said it was.
The body mapping, just like all the
Just
body
doing-
mapping stuff.
Because
Yeah,
it feels less now, but it doesn't feel
yeah. It doesn't feel done. Like big things take a little while. Yeah.
okay.
Bigger things, like small things will go away kind of fast, but then, you know, things that are like maybe smaller but are more current, they'll kind of float away. But like when you start going and digging in the closet or whatever, those they'll still dissipate, but they just take a little bit more time,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. But part of this is like a sudden switch of like a 180, and so I don't trust it, but
Sure.
want to trust it.
I
And
hear
then
you. Yeah, I hear you.
it's kind of why the whole situation is primarily why I invested in the Kartika. So
Right.
we'll see. But then,
Yeah.
but I will keep doing the body mapping. Thank you.
Perfect.
Sorry, I am really zoned out.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Yeah. I credit you guys.
Another question. Could Greg talk about the connection between the basic and the three brains sex chakra? Is that about spirit and matter mixing, or
What is it?
the connection between the basic and the three brains? And they did say three brains slide.
Yeah, we'll unwind that over a period of time. Like that's a kind of a big conversation. So, and it would be a little bit confusing. Like I really want you guys to digest the three brains and the mechanics of light and everything, but that is coming. Yeah. Sorry to put you off, but it would just make things. I mean, it might be interesting, but it may make things a little bit confusing or more complicated. So.
And then someone had a share as well. Let me see if I can find it. Well, a question, is it okay to visualize the light in every cell, every space between cells while I'm doing the ball of light?
What are they doing?
Is the ball of light visualization as a capsule, an oval, a sphere, a pear?
Just think of it as a circle and that your body is surrounded by it.
I guess my question is, if I change the shape from being honest to God round like a Christmas, like a baseball, to like an oval or an almond shape or that just seems
Why would you do that?
just because that seems because for me personally it's easier to visualize that than a round thing.
Visualize
And that gets
round thing. Do a round thing.
do a round thing. Okay. And the second thing is I had it at one point someone said I was in class and they talked about having light in every cell and every space between every cell. So that's not necessary.
What's that going to do for you?
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, it's
If you don't
it's one
have
of
the
those.
building blocks, if you don't have the building blocks, it doesn't matter when you do that kind of stuff.
Okay, well,
Like,
that's what I was just checking on.
you gotta establish the building blocks.
Okay, okay, great, thank you.
And share my experience is the opposite from Dan. Instead of not doing something, I find myself doing the right thing, not thinking about doing meditation with reluctance, but rather, oh yeah, it's time for meditation. Or have I
Yeah,
done one?
Yeah, good, very good, yeah. I mean, it's gonna go both ways. Like, even if you have that experience there, it's still gonna be like, it's also gonna be easier not to do the negative thing or the thing you want to stop. It will go both directions. Like, if you're doing one, you're also doing the other. Yeah. Yeah, so,
That's all the questions
Okay.
and shares.
okay, well, let's see, we've already gone. So, okay, so this is, we'll do another study group. I don't know quite when, but we'll do a short study group, and we are going to revisit this whole class again, and there'll still be a different version of this body mapping class. So the first class we've done, the second class we focus more on the body map. The next time we do it, we'll cover some other areas, because even in this class, what we've already unpacked, there's still a lot more to unpack. So we're gonna do that again over the next couple of months. There'll be a third version of this class. So, and it will, again, once you've had it, it's a free review. So,
Go ahead, Barbara, if you,
Hey, Miss Barbara.
you were unmuted. I don't know if it was on purpose.
I did have a quick question.
Yes.
Back when you were talking about the angels, and I wondered if there was a particular one to work with this breaking a pattern piece, if you could recommend.
Any of the angels would work. Any of
Any.
the angels, any of the archangels. But like, if you think about like the different properties and stuff, if you're just looking to unwind and heal and transmute situations, Raphael is always a good one to start with.
Okay.
Raphael's always like, Raphael is tied to that observation. It's tied to the intuitive mind, because Raphael is associated with the Ming Men, and part of what the Ming Men does, that area opposite your navel on your spine. So on one level, you could say it shoots energy from your body up to the back heart and then to the crown. So it's transmuting the energy, but it's also distributing the energy throughout the body. So that's one level. Another thing to say is like, it's raising the vibration of the body. So you're diminishing the negative impact of whatever's going on, the conditioning, your instinctive responses, you're unwinding all of that, right? But on a deeper level, the Ming Men, with what it does and how it's raising the vibration and transmuting, it's how your left side and right side of your brain, or intellect and intuition, harmonize, right? Like, you're not just harmonizing here, but actually what really clicks it in is the Ming Men. And so when you do that thing where you are putting your awareness on your body and you go, okay, I'm putting my awareness on some glitch in my body, I'm sitting there and being aware of it, that being aware is stimulating the Ming Men to start doing things in the process, and that's starting to move energy up and starting to harmonize intellect and intuition, just by going through and going, okay, I'm putting my awareness on my body. Where do I feel something? I'm putting it on my spine. I'm putting it here. I'm putting it there. And every time you do that, it's having a greater and greater effect of harmonizing the two sides of your mind and intellect and intuition. And so, if you started with any of them, it would be good. Like, you could do it. But the starting with Raphael like deepens it so that it just keeps impacting all the other things that you do. Like, that one, probably more than anything, is is a big one.
Thank you.
You're starting with observation. You know, it's like in the four
Yeah.
directions, you start in the West and Raphael's of the West. Like it's about that cultivating that intuitive part, because the intuition is tied to the movement.
Right.
Yeah.
And is putting awareness on the body more effective than putting awareness on a situation?
They do different things. I mean, they do the same thing, but they do it. One's about you and one is about how you
Right.
interact with the environment. So both are good. They're doing similar things, but they're doing different things, if that makes sense.
It does. Thank you so much.
Yourself. Yeah. So, okay, you guys. So thanks. I'm sorry we went long tonight, but we're going to cut up that meditation for you, edit it, and get it out to you guys. And I'll get you a list of the archangels and holy names and the chakras. And yeah, we'll go from there.